Hi, this is Joel Añado. This is part 2 of the origin of language and life. And this section will deal with the word semantics and syntax. Chomsky received the Nobel Prize for demonstrating that language is innate. No doubt because semantics are observably different in different languages, he concluded erroneously that syntax must be innate. Because it's impossible to program syntax without semantics, syntax can't be innate. One needs a large dictionary before one can understand syntax. How would one explain noun, pronoun, verb without first possessing a large dictionary and sampling of those words? Actually, before you need to use syntax, you would have to accumulate a large dictionary. Otherwise, you don't really need syntax. Which means syntax cannot be innate, which means semantics must be innate. But they are observably not the same, because we are comparing a word to a word. We need to compare letters, building blocks. Now, in order to prove that intelligent design, God created language, we need to create a methodology that's different than the present one, because the present one assumes that sounds, accidental sound, created words, and words are the building blocks, and we need to assume forethought, a God, intelligent design, and therefore we need to assume building blocks for language, letters. So we need to look for letters within languages to see if they are the same. We need to compare letters between English and Hebrew, or Hebrew or any other language, to see if the meaning of the letters are the same. And this has been kind of shown by NYU professor Alex Morans. He's shown that the brain looks for each word as a sentence. It doesn't treat it as one unit, but as containing many other pieces. He looked at MEG to demonstrate just that. He said when we would see the pattern of the brain in the same activity within a word as within a sentence, though more compressed in time. This is what he said. That's how the brain works, looking for letters within a word. Another supporting fact is that blind and sighted people look for language in the same place in the brain. They experience language differently. So if language was learned, you would expect them to look for different places for that language in the brain. The fact that both looking at this for words in the same place indicates that it is innate. Now, if Yaziks lose their ability to speak, but they're still able to communicate gibberish, even swear word, because they lost their ability to create in the front of the brain, but they didn't lose their ability to communicate like a monkey from the back of the brain. So what happened is, if language was created from monkey cries, you would think that the back and the front of the brain would be connected, but they are not. Now, if we assume language are the letters are the building blocks, and we assume that intelligent design created language, now we can test the concept that letters have the same meaning. Now, when I say letters, I mean consonants only. The Hebrew word, by the way, for consonant, the meaning of the Hebrew word consonant is consonant. Here, repeat diligently, which means only consonantals are important. Words are important, and that's what we should memorize. And the vowels were there in order to confound the language, to change the music of it. We're going to start. We'll take one letter and see if that letter has the same meaning in Hebrew and English and other languages, but primarily English. The letter Dalet, the fourth letter, just like the fourth letter in English, D, means in Hebrew door and knowledge, or door to knowledge, or knowledge in short. I'm not suggesting I'm suggesting that it's only consonants, and again, to ignore vowels. So if we connect a consonant to a vowel, we can see the different meaning in both languages and explore that same. So take the word de'ah in Hebrew. It means an opinion or an idea. De'ah, idea, sounds close. Take the word yeda. It means knowledge in Hebrew. Knowledge resides in the head, so if yeda was the name of our head, it would sound pretty good. And actually it is. I know that yeda and head don't sound alike. Nothing alike. Except for one thing, they both have the same building block, the same letter D. The rest are vowels. So, yeda, head, those sound different. Strip the vowels and we get two Ds. Both words mean knowledge. The word ed means to witness, to see a knowledge. Ed is used in English as a suffix, like something that happened, witnessed. Od means add in Hebrew, and that's pretty close. Dio would be a dye in English, or though it's used as ink in Hebrew, but dio and dye is pretty close. To dye means in Hebrew, enough, stop. The English to do then is to know. Kind of to do is to know. And if you give somebody aid, give him help, give him a hand. The Hebrew word yad, aid, hand, means hand. Da means yes in Russian, and it means I know in Hebrew. Of course, we got the hyoid bone. This is a lingual bone, a very unique bone that's not touching any other bones, connected by muscle only. And it is a Hebrew letter Yod for Yehovah, the ruling God of language. And maybe that's where the secrets are. Now, if you go to a two-letter, and we know that D means knowledge, why is it in the word idiot? Well, Yad, we said, means hand. Ot means a sign. Yad, ot, hand signals. In other words, unable to speak. No knowledge, if you will. The word to bid then decipher as bayad. Bids for wealth or bid on a property. Now a dame would then be da'em, no a mother. It follows that a date will be da'et, no a sign or no assigned time is the word et in Hebrew. The Spanish nada, which means nothing, then no da, no knowledge. And Buddha means Boda, in him the knowledge. So on and so forth. The letter B, as in the bayit, bayad. B means a housing, a bait in Hebrew, a single house, or in computerese it means a bait, a single housing. The word semantics is made out of two Hebrew words, shem and tik, meaning name file, simple enough. The name syntax is made up of shin tekes, meaning word or name arrangement. Shin and shem is the same thing. One is the letter which stands for shem, and the other one is the word shem, and it's kind of a method of confounding, saying the same thing differently. Now, then syntax, then we got syntax. Tax is the word tekes, meaning an arrangement, or in English, it's a text. Syntax, word, name, arrangement. Semantics, name, file. I have 2,600 examples like this. Now, Chomsky named the ability to speak innate. He called it language acquisition device. Very sophisticated, and I always thought very scholarly sounding. He then abbreviated it for all of us as LAD, and that's how we know it. LAD means boy in Hebrew, and also means birth, innate. So, actually in English, the word yalad means to yield, birth. Now, Chomsky is Jewish, and he speaks Hebrew, I understand. I'm not saying that he actually meant to name anything in Hebrew. If anything, it's the other way around. I'm suggesting someone who has an access to our mind, so they're able to whisper what we name it. Otherwise, Chomsky or anyone else would come up with Hebrew names on their own. Take the example of the words artery and vein. One carries oxygen, one doesn't. Artery means awir tari, fresh air, awir air, same word. Vein, bo'ein in itnan. It's also explained in vein, or is a vain person in itnan. Now ganglia it was named because it looked like a bark of a tree. But it means in Hebrew, ganglia, garden of discovery of God. Innate, if you take the word innate and word it without the vowels, we got an N and a T, or nata. Nata means in Hebrew, planted. Nata, innate, doesn't sound the same, it's the same word, and it means planted. And you can plant a tree, nata, or something in our gene, garden of the DNA. Now, another word, shatal, means it's planted in Hebrew also. So you see the word in English, in shatal, except you hear it as install or instill. It's still planted. Take the word DNA itself, which means DNA, vertex of God. RNA transmits information, it means around songs of God. Now, we have this new super planet we just recently discovered, though the Bible mentioned it. And we gave it this new name, El Babara. What an interesting name, because they took the last part of the name of the two last discovered supercontinent and added them together, and they got El Babara. El, God, Ba, in it, Bara, created, in it, God created in Hebrew. No, I don't think they meant to. Einstein's formula of MC squared changed the world. It actually describes how the sun makes energy. It is as if Einstein spelled out the Hebrew word sun, semes, shemesh, CMC, wrote it as MC squared, and that's changed the world. The Hebrew letter sin or shin means in Hebrew light, shine, shin, sun, and shin, and it's light, which is the only place MC squared is visible. The speed of light and the letter shin are the same, they are 300. So Einstein spelled out the letter CMC Shemesh in Hebrew, both letter-wise and numerically, as MC squared. Now, if Einstein decided to go with the letter L for light, instead of the letter C for constant, that speed of light is constant, so he went for C, which happens to be Shin, the Hebrew word for light. Of course, it's just a series of coincidences, except that H2O has two hydrogen. In Hebrew, Mayim has two M. M means Mayim or Meiman, hydrogen. So it has two hydrogen, the word Mayim. It seems that I'm suggesting that every word is a formula. Yes, every word is a formula. Formula, poemila. Here's your word. This whole language thing is designed so a 2-year-old learns sun and water, and a 12-year-old learns those are formulas. Same thing about artery and vein. Once they learn those words, they don't need to learn which one carries oxygen. They know artery, fresh air, that's the one with the oxygen. This is a very sophisticated language. And it's just the design, the creation of something like that was designed by accident. It's a dichotomy. You can't have a design and an accident. This is the real Esperanto. The bottom line is, I would want my kids educated like this. Would you not want your kids educated with such an intelligent, smart language? What am I saying is, it seems that regardless of which language we think we're speaking, we're all speaking Hebrew with funny accent and awkward expression. Obviously, all this cannot be the handiwork of evolution, but the work of an alien or some intelligence that did all this. By the way, the word alien means Al-An, I am a God. The next section will discuss how is all this possible, how can somebody whisper in our ears, and for us not to figure it out. That will be section